Well, good morning. This is the English guy in Mexico. It is the 4th of March 2016 and it is 10 o'clock in the morning. It's already 20 degrees centigrade here, which is about 68 Fahrenheit, and it's probably going to hit 30-35 centigrade later today. So it's been a bit exciting because I finally managed to get the shade cloth up. I went out, I bought a 20 metre section of shade cloth. It goes all the way down to that far palm tree over there and up to this palm tree here. Had a slight problem with it. I went and bought some 10 gauge wire to put around the crown of that palm tree and halfway up the trunk of this one, and then I got some 10 gauge wire. It's pretty difficult stuff to work with because it's not very bendable, pliable, around that chimney and the far chimney over there. And the plan is to get another section of shade cloth over this side. Well, what happened was I put 2 posts in the middle to hold it down, and obviously I got some 14 gauge wire and some chains to do the sides. Well, the wind got underneath it after the second day, and literally started ripping it. So I think the problem is with 80 square meters of what is effectively a sail, you know, that there's that much power in here that it's going to rip out the sides. So what I've done is I've put some more posts, some metal posts along the side here, and what I've done is I've threaded this 14 gauge wire, which is it's quite thick, but it's, you know, it's reasonably easy to bend. I've threaded it through the middle of the mesh, so every sort of hand width I've gone through and over and then back under and over and over, and this seems to be holding. We had a little bit of a gale last night and it held, so I've got 1, 2, 3 posts on that side, 3 on this side, and I've also hooked some extra wires up to the top of these parasols, which unfortunately bent it a little bit, but it's not too bad. It is holding. So the first mistake was really not putting enough ties in the middle. The 14 gauge wire at the ends did stretch a bit, I noticed, but again, what I've done right up this far end is I've threaded the 14 gauge wire through the end of the mesh. So let's see if I can explain this. There you go, you can see I've got 14 gauge wire threaded through the end, because what was happening is it was starting to actually rip the mesh. So I've got an extra tie on here and I've got a tie on the side, so I've got 2 ties now, and I think it's going to hold. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, roughly every metre I've got a tie on the end. So with that and the 6 post out, I think we're going to hold this down. Now look what's happening already after just 3 days. I knew that the problem was, if you look at anything out here in the sun, look, you're getting a few weeds. It's basically barren. You've got animals digging in it. As soon as I put the shade cloth over, not really sure what it is, but it looks pleasant, it looks nice, it's definitely very green. I didn't plant it. It's possibly some alfalfa that I put down 2 years ago that never came up, because as I've said, it's just too dry here and it's too hot. Well, it's just coming, I mean, it's going literally crazy. In 4 days you've got a huge bunch there, and it's actually running along the ground, and it certainly looks like alfalfa. So if anybody can tell me, it's got 3 leaves on it. They're all in 3s, so it's not clover. It's got some little tiny yellow seed heads on it, and it's growing in clumps, and it's actually running sideways. Well, I didn't think alfalfa spread. I thought it's one of those plants that actually almost is, I think it's called autotoxicity, where it poisons the soil around it to stop other stuff growing. But this appears to be spreading, and it's beautiful. So after just 3-4 days, obviously I've been watering here because I've just put out another 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of a mixture of sorghum, oats and beans, and I've set them all about an inch deep, and I've been watering just a little bit out each night. I wait obviously until this shade gets over this side. Let's say it's 10 o'clock in the morning. This should be shaded by about 2 o'clock, and then it gets a bit more sun around about 4 o'clock. So this shadow is basically moving across the ground because the sun is rising over there in the east and setting obviously in the west, and the shade cloth is set deliberately north-south so that everything is going to get some sun, but it's going to get between 2 and 3 hours respite at some point during the day. So here's another 6-7 trenches of sorghum, Sudan grass, and that is coming up again, so that gets the shade first thing in the morning. You can see clearly there 2 rows are coming up. There's a partial third row coming up there, and then this I planted this about 3-4 days later, so this might take another couple of days. And also the straw bales are actually starting to collapse. If I get down low, the whole point of having them inside the wire with soil in the middle plus decomposable tree branches, twigs, there's all stuff mixed in the middle, a little bit of water in the top, and then theoretically those bales will start to collapse and I can spread them out. I've actually planted some potatoes in there yesterday or the day before, so they will take the sheep's coming to say good morning, that's Adam. That should start to collapse. Well, it's already collapsing on that side. You can see the straw is actually gone brown and the sun has got to it, and it's basically collapsing down into a mulch, and at the same time I can grow some potatoes in the shade. So everything appears to be working at the moment. English guy in Mexico saying thank you, and bye for now.